Hi folks, this is Vicki at patternprincess.com. Today I want to show you how to do the stitches for this blanket. It's using the two double crochet together cluster stitch, and I didn't skip any special stitches on this is the bottom row. On the bottom row, normally when you do a cluster stitch, you'll do a chain one after it, and then you'll work into the chain one spaces. In this case, I did not, but what's nice is I don't have large gaping holes at the bottom. So when I add a border on here, it'll look nice. This looks the same on pretty much on front as it is on back. And it just makes a lovely texture. And this yarn I'm using is very nice and soft. I didn't change color in that one, in the particular blanket I made. I changed color, and I'm just going to show you how I work the crochet stitches here. When I changed color and made the stripes up the side of the blanket, I actually carried my yarn up the side of the blanket. And I do have a different video in the free crochet pattern, the written one on the website, showing how I carry my yarn up the side. So you'll want to check that out if you want to do that. This is a Wander yarn though. This color here is agave, I think you call it. Then there's a darker color in the pattern that's called Abyss. And then this lighter color here is called Tundra. And the darker color is this. So the blanket just turned out just gorgeous. And I just made a baby blanket size. I may have to make a bigger one of these days with some different colored yarn. But let me show you what I did. It took me a couple tries. This is a size K hook, 6.5 millimeter. This is an I size hook, 5.5 millimeter. So what I'm doing with my chain stitch, of course I'm getting my yarn tangled up here, is you see how much larger this hole is here, my chain stitch? Make sure that you use the larger hook. This is a couple sizes bigger than my I. And it's only for my chain stitch row, because I'm not going to be, I don't want to skip chains on my foundation row. I wanted to see if I could make this work, and I did. I just use this bigger hook, and then what I'm doing, and you can chain any number of chains for this pattern. So I put my yarn through, we hook it up, and then I just bring it up a little bit. Or you can also make sure you bring it up the shaft on this one here to make sure it's bigger. So I just make sure that I make the loops bigger. Don't do any kind of tight stitches on this first row, because you're working in that first row the two double crochet together in one stitch. So we need room to work. So this is how nice and loose it's chained. I don't even know how many chains I have here, but it's enough. It's enough to show you. Okay, so now I'm going to switch back to this one. Okay. My size I hook. Okay, now I'm going to yarn over, because in my third chain, 1, 2, 3, I'm going to work a double crochet. So we yarned over, we put our yarn through, yarned over, bring it through 2 loops, and yarn over through 2 loops. Okay. Now I'm going to yarn over, go to the next stitch, and this is what I do all the way to the end. I yarn over, insert my hook, yarn over, bring it through, yarn over, go through 2 loops, and stop. Yarn over, go back into the same stitch, yarn over, bring it through, and yarn over, go through 2 loops. Now I have 3 on the hook, and I yarn over, go through all 3. Normally in a cluster stitch, you're going to do a chain 1 to close it off. I didn't. I just left it. Okay, now I'm going to do the 2 double crochet together, which I just did, all the way across. So yarn over, insert your hook, yarn over, bring it through, yarn over, go through 2 loops, yarn over, insert your hook back, yarn over, bring it through, yarn over, go through 2 loops, and yarn over, go through 3. So we continue working this. If we didn't make the bottom foundational chain bigger, this whole thing would curve. It would curve because the bottom chains are too small to accommodate putting 2 stitches essentially in each chain stitch. But because we made it nice and loose, gotta get all my threads, we don't really have as much of that problem. And if you do just a little bit, it'll even out as you work the blanket. If you didn't make them loose enough, then you might want to take it out and try again. But loose in that first chain row is the key. Once we do this, this is the whole pattern all the way through. The only thing that you're doing on my particular pattern I just made is changing color every 6th row. And then we got to make sure we get the very last one, and I'll show you how it looks. Okay. There we go. My yarn didn't want to pull up. There we go. And so it's a little bit, you can see it wants to go wonky. It's okay. It's not bad. It's going to even out. Trust me. So give it a little pull. It doesn't look too bad. I just love the look of this and the texture. Now I'm going to get a little bit more yarn here for a second. And then we're going to do row 2. When we end this first row, you're not going to crochet into your chain stitches you skipped. I'll show you. So we're going to chain 2. 1, 2. That doesn't count as anything. So we're going to yarn over, go into that first stitch right here, and do our 2 double crochet together. This is a stitch we do all the way across. So I'm just going to quietly for a minute here, if I can, quickly work those stitches across for you, and then I'll show you where I end my row. Okay, we're almost there. Just a couple more stitches. You can always tell when somebody's done quite a few of a stitch because they just get that rhythm to it. Now, when I said you don't work the turning chain, or I should say the chains that you skipped, this is where you had your double crochet, and this is where you had your chains you skipped. Work right into this stitch here, right into this top. So kind of count those as one stitch, all right? Because if you did it in both stitches, you would just cause more curving of your chain, foundational chain. So we're going to yarn over, and we're going to do our 2 double crochet together right there in that last stitch. Now let me show you how it looks. See, all of a sudden it's starting to even out. It's starting to look nice. Here's the other side. Okay, and I'm going to do one more row, and then I'm going to show you the border on the other swatch that I had made. That just has a single crochet and then half double crochets, but I just want to make sure you have that too in case you're a beginner crocheter and you want to see it. So we're going to do our chain 2. This is the repeating pattern all the way through. First stitch, do our 2 double crochet together, and of course we do our 2 double crochet together all the way across. Okay, so I'm going to pause it here, and then I'll meet you on the other end so I can show you exactly where to put your last stitch, okay? Okay, I'm this far on my side. You see how nice and straight? This has a really nice straight edge, okay? And this is how you create it. So on this end here now, we had our chain 2. It's hard to see. Our chain 2. And then we had our 2 double crochet together. You see that? That's our first 2 double crochet together in that first stitch. So we're going to end with, just like we kind of did on that foundation row where you had the double crochet together with the 3 chain stitches we skipped, or I should say 2 chain stitches we skipped, and we just worked into the top of that one. We're going to work right here. This is the stitch we're going to go into, and we're going to do that 2 double crochet together, just 1 stitch. We're not going to work on top of the chain 2 turning chains, I guess we'd call it here. Okay, I'm going to stop and I'll show you. See, that's a nice straight edge. See that? And this is a nice straight edge. And this is how it looks after 3 rounds. 3 rows. But the row that we just worked here, that's what you're going to repeat the entire way through. And you can start a blanket, any project with any number of chains. Just make sure you keep them really nice and loose, okay? All right, now we're going to go back to this one here. This sample that I've made here, okay? And I'm going to show you how to do the stitches in this for the border. Okay, now I'm going to tear this out and reuse. I don't want to waste this yarn, to be honest, in the sample. I'm going to reuse this in a different project I have in mind. I've actually made some samples of it because there's enough yarn here left that I can make something else. So anyways, so I'm not gonna weave in my yarn ends. I'm just going to leave that hang there for a minute. So you're going to start in any corner. I didn't even weave in this end yet because I want to reuse it. So start in any corner. We'll just start in this one here. And you join your yarn. You could really start on any side if you wanted to. So we're just going to bring our yarn through and like make a slip knot, okay? And that just snugs right up. Okay, then we're going to, now I got it too snug, chain 1. And then we're going to single crochet right in that same spot. Okay, now working up the side, you don't, on the top and bottom is pretty easy. You know exactly where to put your stitch here on the top. On the bottom, you can see exactly where to put your stitch on the bottom of each stitch, right? So that's pretty easy. The sides is where when I was newer, it was harder to work. So this is your corner. Now in each corner stitch, we're going to do 3. So we're going to do, you can either do 2 more single crochet now, or you can come back around and do 2 more single crochet. I'm going to do 2 single crochet now. And I'll just kind of go over my tail there just a little bit. And then later on, I'd weave that in. Now, if you put your stitches too close together, it's going to ripple on the sides. If you put them too wide apart, you're going to see, if you've carried up the yarn on the side, you're going to see that. So I'd put a stitch here. You just kind of ease your stitches along and try and think about, where would the next placement look? Where would it go? Well, since you have a double crochet, this space here is like having 2 stitches. So ease somewhere along between here and here, ease in 2 stitches. So we're going to go here for 1, and then we'll go in this space for the next. And so now we got to think about, here's the next space. Where would we put our stitch? And so if you just ease them along the sides, it'll look real nice and start to work out wonderfully. And I'll just go up to that next corner. And you can see I'm kind of doing 2 stitches, I guess, each row. It seems to be working here. And then I'm going to do a single crochet here and then 2 more. That helps your edge lay flat. Okay. And then we just go into our first stitch here. Oops. And we do our single crochet. And then we would do this all the way around, and you would end with a slip stitch into that first single crochet. So this is how this looks. See, it's not puckering, it's laying very nicely. So that's a good amount of stitches. So now let's pretend that I've gone around, all right, and done my stitches. And now we're going to do the half double crochet row. So the half double crochet, let's say I've joined my yarn here and it looks nice. So we're going to chain, what did I do in my half double crochet? I got to look. I had to look at my own notes. I wanted to make sure. Chain 2. That counts as a half double crochet. So that there counts as the first stitch here. So your first stitch you're going to work into is actually this next stitch right here, okay? So yarn over, put your yarn in the hook, or your hook through the loop, yarn over, bring it through, and yarn over, go through all 3 loops. Yarn over, go to the next stitch, yarn over, bring it through, yarn over, go through all 3 loops. And you're going to do this all the way around. And when you get to the corner stitch, you're going to work 3 half double crochets in that corner stitch. The single crochet, this is your corner stitch. The single crochets give you a very nice foundation to work from. And if I've carried the yarn up the side, it's a great way to hide the yarn that you've carried up the side. So instead of having to weave in a whole bunch of yarn ends, I love, when I can, to carry the yarn up the side. It's almost as nice as using a variegated yarn that changes color for you, and you don't even have to do any kind of weaving in. So here is how you do that half double crochet. And then we also have another round of half double crochet, and you just do the chain 2, and then you do your half double crochet stitches the same way. And here's where you'd work your 3 half double crochet in the corner. So I hope that this helps you work this pattern, and remember that the pattern is on the website patternprincess.com, and it is all free for you. And have a great day crocheting. Take care, and thanks for watching.